Joining me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, he is the 5th New Japan Triple Crown champion, the first ever New Japan Grand Slam champion, having held the heavyweight title, the Intercontinental title, and the U.S. Heavyweight Championship, and he is the current never Openweight champion. And oh, by the way, he's the leader of the Bullet Club. It is Switchblade Jay White. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at JWhiteNZ. Jay, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Not a bad introduction. I've heard better usually when it's coming from my own mouth. There's a few points you missed out, like the fact that I single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden. But I know I'm happy enough with how that went.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'll try to do better next time.
That's okay.
I was at that Madison Square Garden show, and it was what an amazing event. Think back to what we've experienced over the last 18 months, and then to look back to 2019 in the world's most famous arena there in New York. That's got to be a little bit of a mind twist for you, right?
Yeah, you know what? Until you kind of just put it that way, I don't think I'd even really thought back at it like that either. But that is a great point. What a change in every single possible way. You know, not just for me, but just for the wrestling and the world in general. But yeah, what a crazy change. I'm sure everybody would love for it to get back to those times.
And believe me, I'm there with you. And forgive me, have you been back to Japan since the pandemic started?
Yeah, I went back. Actually, it was almost exactly a year ago because I went back and did the G1 last year. So
That's right.
I think I flew out. I think I left the States about September 1st, maybe last year. And we went out and did the G1, and I was there through the first half of this year as well.
Let me ask you this, because what we're seeing now with New Japan coming to Garland and this tour that New Japan Strong is doing, you're wrestling in front of fans, something that you weren't able to do for quite some time. How much does that mean to you to be able to do your thing, apply your craft in front of those fans?
You know, I say it time and time again. It doesn't matter to me whether the fans are there or not, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't get an extra little kick out of it, a little extra bit of enjoyment out of being able to be in front of these fans again and hold the belt up in front of them and show them once again and remind everybody just how good I am, and to remind them that whether there's fans there or not, whether it's in Japan or whether it's in the States, it is still my era.
It is the Switchblade era, as you like to say. I want to ask you something, because it looks like Bullet Club is starting to reach that pinnacle again. It went through. I mean, and the pandemic didn't help things out, but it looks like you and God and Hikulea and those guys, it looks like you're getting that vibe again. It's and I'm not saying that you guys never been not powerful, but it just, I don't know. There seems to be a little extra juice there.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first time I'm talking about this publicly, but just the state of Bullet Club as a whole. I agree with you in aspects of it. We're the strongest that it's ever been, but in other aspects, not so much. So it's something that's going to take a little bit of my attention and try to finesse and finagle and see what I can do to make sure that everybody's on the same page, whether that means keeping everybody, whether that means cutting people. We'll just have to wait and see. Time will tell for myself, and obviously time will tell for everybody watching, because obviously I'm not going to give away my plans to anybody.
Interesting words there. Someone that you have added recently during your stint with Impact Wrestling, Chris Bay, which, yeah. I mean, we've been fans of him. He's done a lot of the independent promotions here in Texas. I'm a huge fan of his. Talk about what the addition of Chris Bay to Bullet Club means to you guys.
Well, you can, like you said it yourself, you can see the value in Chris Bay yourself. So obviously we can see that. We're always keeping our eyes out for guys like Chris Bay, and we wanted somebody in Impact to be able to represent us. And I don't know if there's anybody that could really do that better other than the likes of Chris Bay. Me and him actually met years ago when I was still on excursion before I went back to Japan. We met out in California, I believe. I've kept an eye on him since then and stuff, and it was the right time to give him the opportunity of a lifetime. And of course, he's taken it and he's run with it.
He really has. Let me ask you this, because I've been lucky enough. I've been following New Japan pretty much since you went to the dojo, which was, I believe, in 2015, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I got there on January 1st, 2015.
So we're talking in the span of 6.5, we're getting kind of close to 7 years. And you look at yourself then and yourself now, what's the biggest surprise what's the most surprising thing you learned about yourself during that whole development? Because I know that dojo is no joke. That's not just your typical little wrestling training school. That is a whole experience.
Are you meaning whilst I was in the dojo, or just anything between starting and now?
Just between then and now. Yeah.
The most surprising thing about myself, I think, compared to how I was back in 2015 and 2016, I think what I surprised myself is my ability to be able to prioritize myself over New Japan's traditions and over all their old wrestlers over there who try to demand that you respect them just because they've been there for as long as they've been there. Doesn't matter if they're good or not anymore. You just expected to have to bend the knee to anyone and everyone there. So I think I'm surprised myself how I managed to not do that compared to how I was in 2015. As a young boy there, as a young lion, you very much get brainwashed into this mindset of feeling like you're less than all those guys. And so I'm glad that I surprised myself and realized that I'm better than all of them.
It's interesting that you say that, because I see that outside of New Japan with especially, you've got areas like the state of Texas where, wrestling has been such a fabric for so many years. And you're right. There is that kind of, you're supposed to respect the veterans, so to speak, which has its pluses, but also has its minuses. So I totally understand.
Exactly. There comes a time and point where the veterans need to be put in their place. It's kind of like the jungle. Lions think they're the king, and there's always going to be somebody that's going to challenge them. And if that king can't hold his own, then he's going to he's going to lose, and there'll be a new king, and that's me.
Yeah. Something that in the intro I mentioned, the first ever Grand Slam champion. So you've held all 4 major singles titles in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. Did it surprise you when this was coming about? Did it surprise you that you're the first after the, we're talking 50 plus year history of New Japan Pro Wrestling?
To be honest, no. I don't think I don't know if I was really thinking of it. Wasn't really a plan. The opportunity just kind of fell in my lap after how this year started. But it doesn't surprise me that nobody else has done it, because there hasn't been anybody else like me that could have done it. But hey, let's give props to old Tanahashi, who obviously, despite wrestling for however long he's been wrestling and all the stuff that he's done for New Japan, it took me doing it to inspire him to follow in my footsteps and him become the second Grand Slam champion. So, no, it doesn't surprise me, because bottom line, there hasn't been anybody like me that can do what I can do.
Well, that's true. If you have the ace following your footsteps, that means something.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bullet Club before I talk about this weekend. There has been a little bit of I don't know what you call it, a little bit of a back and forth between you guys and the elite, what we'll call the Good Brothers and the Bucks and Kenny Omega. How do you see? Is this another example of the old guys need to be put in their place, or is there room in the current Bullet Club for that version of the Bullet Club?
These guys, they don't fall into that category of need to be put in their place like other people I was talking about, because these guys are still on the top of their game. There's no denying that. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not stupid. I consider myself to be one of, if not the smartest wrestler alive today. So I'm not going to doubt those guys' ability and what they can do. The thing with them, with some of them I have history, some of them I don't. Some of them I have little issues with, some of them I don't. Right now, though, none of that requires my immediate attention. In due time, I'm sure everything will sort itself out, and I'm sure there'll be points where we all find ourselves in the ring again, whether it's opposite each other or, hey, who knows, maybe even on the same side. Again, I don't even know that, so we'll all have to wait and see with that.
Yeah, all I'll say is,
that's what I was gonna add to that.
Go ahead.
They added guys like Adam Cole, and I have no problem with Adam Cole. I've never had any issue with Adam Cole. I like Adam Cole. So that's what I mean, is that there's always potential there for, hey, maybe some of us will get along better than we'd realize. But as always, we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. I will say this, however it happens, it is a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. It's a great time to be a New Japan fan, a Bullet Club fan, AEW, Impact, whatever. I mean, you talk about how incredible wrestling is right now. Man, it's looking good. And a lot of that's coming to Garland, the Curtis Colwell Center, this Saturday and Sunday. Let's talk Saturday. You are in it's a non-title match, but you're facing the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion in Robbie Eagles. Talk for a second about what you see in him and how you see that match playing out. Give me your little bit, maybe a couple keys to victory.
Well, let's just recap a little bit of history, just for those listeners who maybe aren't too familiar with it. Robbie Eagles was part of the Bullet Club. I believe we brought him in to Japan.
You did?
We did, exactly. We gave him that opportunity, and then he decided to not spit in just our face, but quite literally kick me in mine in his home country of Australia. Of all people to defend, he was defending Will Ospreay, and so Robbie threw away the opportunity of a lifetime for Will Ospreay. Let's just say that again, so everybody hears that. Robbie Eagles is quite possibly the dumbest man on this earth, because he threw away the opportunity of a lifetime with Bullet Club for Will Ospreay, and now 2 years later, Robbie Eagles he actually managed to finally win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's something that he could have had happen 2 years ago in Australia. He could have had it happen, but he didn't want it that way. So, Robbie wanted to blaze his own path or something like that. But it's very clear that Robbie made a bad decision. So then coming up this Saturday, me and Robbie, we're just going to have a little chat in the ring. And if we can't quite smooth things over, then I'll have to beat it into him. I'm going to have to make him see how big his mistake was when he decided to kick me in the face in 2019. So I'm simply going to return the favor and repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over again, kick him in his this Saturday night in Dallas.
I get that. You got to get that revenge. Not to mention, I got to imagine there's a little bit of an Australia versus New Zealand rivalry here, right?
That's always the underlying thing with it. Anybody that's from New Zealand and Australia, that's always going to be here, but that's not at the forefront of the issue. But I'm sure that'll add a little bit of extra motivation on either side for him and for myself.
Well, you have that match on Saturday night, but your work's not done. Sunday night, you get to face one of the hottest up and comers, at least here in the States. Been making waves in AEW, Daniel Garcia. Talk for a second about facing him Sunday night in Garland.
Yeah, I keep hearing that people talking about one of the hottest up and coming guys. I've heard that phrase a lot, because it was always used to talk about myself a few years ago. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know who Daniel Garcia is. I don't know anything about him. I don't know why he's being put in the ring with me. I don't know who hates him so much that they're going to put him in the ring with me just for me to rip him apart in record time if I choose to. Or maybe I'll stay in the ring for as long as I can and just torture the hell out of him. Who knows? But Daniel Garcia. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know who put you in this position, but it's not a good one for you. Not physically, but hey, I don't know who you are now, and I'm sure a lot of people don't. But once you've been in the ring with me, despite getting your ass whipped, people will know you after that.
There you go. I expect nothing less from the Switchblade. He is Switchblade Jay White. Catch him this weekend in Garland with New Japan Pro Wrestling presents Autumn Attack. Catch him everywhere that New Japan is. Before I let you go, Jay, if I can ask one little favor, I would love to get a show ID from you. Would you be willing to do that for me?
I don't even know what a show ID is.
You basically all you say this is Switchblade Jay White, or that, and you're listening to, and the name of the show is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Yes.
Sure, I can do that.
Do that as however you see fit. Whenever you're ready.
I'll make it quite as simple for you. I'll give myself the proper introduction scene.
There you go.
And then you can listen to it over again, and then you can properly get it right. So who you are talking to, just to remind you once again, is Switchblade Jay White, the last rock and roller, #1 asset in all of pro wrestling, the man that single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden. I'm King Switch, baby. I am the first ever Grand Slam champion. I'm the current never Openweight champion. I'm the real belt collector. It's still my era. And you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
I would expect nothing less than what you just did. Very good, my friend. Jay White.
I got your guys' thing right at the end there. I almost forgot.
No, you did it. You got it perfectly.
Good.
You got it perfectly. Jay White, catch him this weekend in the DFW Metroplex. Jay, all the best to you. Safe travels, and we'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be everywhere. This is the US of J tour. I'm making my way around the country. So yeah, make sure you catch me. Thank you, guys.